Hey, welcome back to another part of this Building Digital App Dice series. And here we're going to be talking about triggering some changes when we go from mobile to web. Now what we're going to be doing, we need to do a couple of things. We're going to kind of modify our configuration just a little bit here. We're going to declare a global categories variable. Doesn't need to be set. And then we're going to remove this change platform here, and we're going to set those categories inside this function. So I'm going to call categories equals response, and then we're going to change platform. And just, that's not going to take any parameters. Change platform is going to then call this. We're going to remove categories here because our categories is a global variable declared up here, and then we need to go up to our select box and actually write that on change JavaScript event, and we're going to call it change platform. Save that, and let's see what we've got. And away we go. Now we've got mobile writing, everything in there. If we change to web, what happens? Oh, it changed, but guess what? We've got now mobile and web. If we change again, oh no, it's even crazier. So we got to actually empty out those categories every single time that we run this. So in change platform, we can do that simply by grabbing the category select boxes, and we're going to use a jQuery method called empty. So before anything happens to those platforms, we're going to empty them out. And really, I'm going to actually take that from the beginning. Let's just keep everything in one place, and we can run empty right there. So before we append, we can just chain it together. So instead of making it its own thing, let's just empty and then append. And now let's see how that works. Perfect. Mobile writing. Okay. Now if I change to web, oh, there we go. Now we got the web categories. Great. Now, what is this box going to be doing? We need to actually be able to change the amount of dice that we have here. And I know they don't really look like dice yet. They don't do anything, but we're just kind of preparing. So we need to actually be able to modify the number of dice. Let's go ahead and build that out now. Okay, so to change the number of dice, we're going to use that same little JavaScript event and on change, and we're going to say change dice. Change dice. Not Andrew Dice Clay, just change the dice. Okay, sorry. I will refrain from jokes. Change dice. We're going to declare that down here. So we also want to make sure that in our main function, we are also changing the dice. So we want to call that in our main function. And I'm going to copy... Well, in fact, I'll just do it one little piece at a time here. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So in change dice, we want to get the number of dice. So let's declare a variable number dice, and that equals, we're going to get the jQuery element ID number dice dot val, and then we're going to create a JavaScript element, and we'll just call it dice. Now I put the $ because I just want to mark that it's going to be an array of jQuery elements. So this is going to be just an empty jQuery element that's signified by the $. If you didn't realize that, at this point, the $ is how we're accessing the jQuery methods. And if that is completely foreign to you, you need to go back to the kind of the very beginning and jump into the jQuery tutorials. So now I want to loop through the number of dice, and I'll do that with a for variable. I equals 0, I is less than number dice, I, not capital I, plus plus. And I'm going to call, whoops, this dice element that I made here. And then again, dot add. And I'm going to use those backticks again. Just because it makes it a little easier for me to use multi-line stuff here, so I can copy and paste this in. So I'll copy that. I'll go ahead and paste it right in there. Whoops, yeah, that's fine. As long as the indentation is correct, that'll work. And then I'm going to just delete everything out of the middle of that main, because I'm going to go ahead and put it back in there with another jQuery element, grabbing that main. I'm going to empty, make sure it's empty, can't spell at all, append, and I'm going to append those dice. Now, not related at all, but I'm going to remove this. It's just, it bothers me, all that space. And that should get us going. We're going to, every time when we load, we're going to change the dice. And then when I actually fire this trigger here, we're going to change the dice. So let's refresh. Refresh the page. And okay, let's see what happens when I click. There we go. I am changing the number of dice that are on the screen, but I did forget one thing here. When I change the number of dice, I'm losing my categories, but I can easily fix that by going into this change dice, and after I append, I will just do change platform. Just run that function again. That's the beauty of kind of breaking your functions out into, you know, kind of little chunking, you know, chunking out your functions like that, so you can call them from different places. Term that I've heard all the time is separating concerns, and I'm probably not even making my function small enough. You know, I would have to. I'd love to hear from somebody who's got more experience with that. But it's definitely working. Now we've got our mobile and web. Let's see. Yes, web. If I up this to 3, then I've still got categories. Perfect. Now that'll be it for... I got some errors here because I tried to change things before I had a response from my API. Now, in the next video, we're actually going to get into rolling the dice and kind of randomizing the apps that show up on the screen. You know, so if we have 3 or 4 dice, how can we randomize what we are doing here? So stay tuned for the next part, and we'll talk about randomizing with JavaScript.